Welcome everybody to the first episode of Founders Talk, where we talk to founders about how they got started and where they're going. Today we're here actually in Midwest Acquirers Association in Chicago for the 2021 conference. And our guest today is a very fearsome businesswoman out of Texas. She does not need an introduction, but she's been running Alliance for quite a long time. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, we have Miss Ekta Iyer.
Thank you, Sebastian, and thank you for this invite. I'm excited about just the idea of talking about payments and the opportunity to be part of this.
Absolutely. So actually, as you may be aware, payments has been constantly changing, especially in the last couple of years. And before we touch upon that, I would first love to get a little context into how you got started, what made you go into payments, and how you ended up here.
So I think, like many people in payments, never intended to be in payments. I had the fortune that my father was already doing something in the payments industry, and just happened upon it through him. And in the prospect of the two of us working together, we founded Alliance Bancard Systems and have been running our ISO out of Dallas, Texas. And it's just been a very fruitful business for us, a great relationship. It's very unique when you can work with family. And we are very family-centric, so that also shows in the way we care for our customers, and that's helped us grow and expand. And we have this organic growth that we've just been taking advantage of and growing through a community-based model. We service the South Asian business community, and now it's expanding into other ethnic communities where we reach a different ethnic group and a different type of community, and start getting referrals, and our growth is really through referrals.
Well, I feel like that's very unique approach to businesses, as in the payments industry it can be very cutthroat and competition is fearsome. Being in Dallas, I feel like that's a relatively big market. How you kind of touch upon coming from a family business, very family oriented values, to the way you guys approach business. How do you guys see that fitting into your business model and really making a difference in the payments industry altogether?
As far as our business model, I think it really comes down to being adept. We're able to adapt, we're flexible. There are things that we're able to do as one-offs, and then they become like programs we roll out. We're like, this is a great idea. I think it's about taking care of our customers in this unique way, and somebody comes to us with a need, and we're like, can we do that? Have we done that before? And can we do it? And we go through these questions, and through that process, we've been able to develop programs for caring for our customers in unique ways, but also that has really built a reputation of in the community for us to continue to expand and grow. So as we add products, I've seen that now, not just being consultants, we're advisors to the businesses. They actually come to us, like in this last year where there was PPP, hey, I have business owners just calling and saying, how do I apply? Not my area of expertise, but I'm like, here, I applied, this is how I did it, and walk them through. I think that's really been one unique factor, because we don't say no, and if I can share information, we are information sharers, and I think that that's given us not only credibility, but there's a level of I think, I say care again, but just a level of just accountability to, if I put my stamp and I give this advice to somebody, would I take my own advice?
I actually love that you touch upon, becoming advisors to these merchants, because as payments professionals, I feel that we almost have a moral obligation to help navigate through, just regular business challenges that come through. If I'm starting a restaurant, I need to set up a POS system. I need to probably have inventory management. I need to have all these things that become outside of the scope of running a restaurant. So I'd love to get, again, some examples of how you guys are advising these small businesses or medium-sized businesses to get a leg up when it comes to, whether it's challenges they encounter, like the PPP application or anything else in that realm. I feel that I'd love to hear a little bit more about how exactly you guys go about this advising.
Absolutely. I see so many innovative products that come through through these conferences and through our through the payments industry, and I think I take great interest in seeing what's new. That's one of the most exciting things. What's new in the industry? Because I see, different types of interchange programs, different types of ways that we can help merchants save money. And we've come through years of now talking about surcharge and cash discount, but those aren't the only models that are out there. And I think we have the benefit of also getting that, we kind of are the feet on the street at the same time. So getting that direct feedback from the customers, which are the merchants who say no, or where their concerns are, where the questions are. So some of the products that we've been able to develop, especially in this last year, have been like just programs to help merchants become more omni-channel, to really expand and to grow as we've had quarantines and some sort of profit shrinkage from other areas. Just how can merchants continue to add into marketing, add into their sales, and get some analytics into their, what are my products that are most popular? What days of the week are most busy? Then they know how to schedule their staff. When mandates are coming out, we have a really great communication model where we can send out notifications real quickly to our merchants as education. So education is a really big thing in payments, because something that you think is very minute has an impact on a business in a greater way. And I think that just bundling these kind of unique little solutions, and there are one-offs, and then we look at which ones are the ones that are actually marketable. So we might do a one-off a few times, but then this particular one is more marketable, and we start packaging it. So we've seen the omni-channel model be very successful this last year during the whole COVID season, as well as just now, instead of just advising on payments, we're advising on how can we have rewards programs and marketing and loyalty type of programs, so that text marketing, email marketing, that becomes more important, because we want repeat and return customers at our merchant locations.
No, absolutely. And I would feel, I have to do a little plug-in in here. I feel like that would help a lot with merchant attrition. Obviously, absolutely, this is problematic for the entire industry, and very few players and individuals are getting it right. I feel like you guys have very little to no attrition problem, and that might be, in fact, due to your specific tailored approach to dealing with merchants, specifically being their advisor. I'm just wondering, how do you, as the years progress and as you guys continue to grow and expand, how do you plan to have this, same structure of values and attitude towards service? I mean, you guys prioritize service and prioritize the merchants at the end of the day. How is it possible, or is it even possible, to scale that when it comes to, expanding Alliance, 10 years from today, for example?
My manager of technology solutions would love you, because she asks me this all the time. We're doing this now, but how are you going to make it? How are you going to duplicate this? And I joke with her. I'm like, just clone me. So
might be possible in a couple of years.
We cannot clone me right now. I do think that it has to do with technology. There is a huge integration of technology and automation that we're implementing into our service model, and I think that that's what is going to drive this duplication of service. So then how do we maintain that same level of care is to have that same approach. Now, I can give you the example of like just the AI technology. So we're implementing AI, but in a consultative approach, not a, hey, I'm a chatbot and I'm here to help you, but like a consultative approach. So taking it and implementing it in a unique way so that when customers are submitting inquiries, it feels like they have someone.
It's a person on the other side rather than just a machine.
I will tell you, inside Track, we actually have an AI we've named. So one of our employees is an AI.
But does he got full benefits and everything, a 401k matching plan?
The best employee ever, because I don't have to worry about that. And the customers wouldn't know that they're talking to an AI technology. What happens is, she's there to answer questions and to respond quickly and say, I've got this, we're going to take care of it. But when people call for her, she's not available.
She's probably homesick.
She's probably homesick. But I do think that is something that that we've been, that's our challenge. How do we duplicate it? How do we scale? And we're constantly putting that in the focus of how we design. I think I have the unique, experience and background in IT where I've done user interface design and we've done these, just use cases of how, what if, then what, and then where the user can be stuck. So creating these stories and mapping out these use cases and then creating a graphical interface and a user interface that's easy, simple, convenient, but also fast. Everybody's about speed, just get me to the answer. And so I've done a lot of recording myself, and I continue to do that so that I can implement that right back into our AI. I think it has to be modeled off of a real person to be real or feel real.
Absolutely, it's kind of like emulating or almost trying to replicate your clone. Actually get your clone out, and if you can't actually physically clone you, then we'll try to put as much as your personality, your traits into this AI machine that will allow us to interact with someone like you, not quite like you, but close enough where we can actually feel that closeness in relationship when it comes to doing business.
So my endeavor to clone myself. I've developed an AI instead.
I love it. Speaking of AI, I'd love to get your take on, where do you see, the future of payments is drastically changed.
Oh, yes.
And specifically, I feel that for the past, since the pandemic, all these payments changes that were supposed to take effect in a matter of 10, even 5 years are actually changing relatively quickly. Right. Given this fast progression towards, the future of payments, where do you see it going, and where do you see Alliance fitting into that future specifically?
So I feel that in my experience in payments, I think we've come from being financial services to really being these fintech companies, where this financial services is partnered with technology, and there's no other way to go. Fintech is the way to go, where you have to have an element of automation and technology, complementing the financial services. So really the technology is the foundation now to still doing these core functions of, I got to make a payment to you, and and you've got to get that funding into your bank account. So those remain the same basic necessities of a business, but the way I've seen it evolving is really, and with Corona, you're right, it just happened. These technologies have existed prior to the quarantine and COVID occurring. The adoption from the consumer side and even from the merchant base has really allowed the technologies to bubble up into use. Because if you look at contactless, been around for decades, but now the prevalence of contactless, the need for accepting mobile wallets because so many consumers are activating their mobile wallets. It's I think one credit to our the card brands that are already implementing these programs, and then these technology companies that come in and say, hey, let's see, how can I make it quick, easy, fast? We've got lots of contactless, hands-free. We're talking about a digital era. We're living in a digital world now. you and I could have this meeting over Zoom. We don't even have to sit in person, and it would probably be as equally engaging, because there's still interactions that we can implement into that video call that still make it feel like you and I in person and enjoying a little coffee talk together. Yeah. So I see more and more technology and these innovations coming in, and I do think that those are the drivers for a lot of the changes that have happened in this last 2 years. 2 years really, really fast. Where it's going is then continuous development of those innovations and implementation and integrating multiple technologies one with another to get that to get these new solutions. I have a just like today, contactless may not have been a need, but the technology was available. It being available allowed us to implement it very quickly. So even in today's time, there are new technologies and innovations that are going to be driving then the next consumer needs or the next merchant need that comes up. And it could be something like this pandemic again, or it could just be something as simple as consumers think it's cool,
Yeah. I mean, I can tell you, speaking firsthand with merchants, sometimes it's, they get, NFC has boosted sales simply because when someone forgets their wallet, I got my phone on me, I can still make the purchase. And these are things that maybe we forget about, or we don't really think about. Mm-hmm. And
when you think about the statistics where, consumers spend more on a credit card than if they were paying with cash. Right. So these are still the basic foundations of just payments and payment acceptance, but now we're implementing technology to really enhance that customer experience and to make it that cool factor of I paid with my phone, but also, now safety and health are of a concern. So it also meets that consumer need that perhaps we weren't really trying to address with contactless at the time.
But it sort of emerged due to the need of having, more sanitized stations. Well, nobody's wiping their POSs after being used. So Obviously there needed to be an alternative. Mm-hmm. The alternative was always there. Uh-huh. It was only a matter of adoption. And now you feel that, given the times, it becomes almost, the adoption becomes almost infused with the time, mm-hmm. simply because they demanded by whether it's just I don't want to touch the POS, or I want to get in and out as quickly as possible.
Right. And I think that there are some great customer experience type of solutions. I've seen one from from a major manufacturer where the cameras just watch you as you come in. They can demograph you, right? Like just take your demographics right away. So female, this age group, this kind of interest. And then all the marketing throughout the store can then just be personalized for me. And you would think that that's not, that's very cool technology. Stores that implement that will find value in their, in their sales and upselling. But when there's a need for it and then it gets implemented based on that need, it'll even explode. Like customers might even come into the store just for okay, what are you going to sell me? What are you going to market to me?
I love that you bring that point, because we work heavily in data, and, and there's always a balance that'll be struck mm-hmm. between personalization and intrusion, I feel.
True.
How do you feel that in this new kind of age where we expect everything to be personalized, uh-huh. but at the same time we want to keep, or we're concerned somewhat with privacy? Is there a middle ground? Is there more one-sided? Or again, I'd love to get your thoughts in.
This is, I think, the driver is the new generation, because there's a new generation growing up with technology, comfortable with it, not as scared or concerned about the security of it, because they're used to it, almost expect it to be secure. And so that interaction is probably that younger generation. If I walked in, or someone older than me, I might be freaked out. Like, what? They know too much about me. Where could I go? Where could I go to delete the database on me? But
unsubscribe.
So I think it's a generational aspect. I mean, when you're approaching these kind of these kind of solutions, I think you have to look at what kind of business you are, or what kind of business we're servicing, and their client base. And there is a newer generation that's coming up more comfortable with, I can use my phone, I can use my fingerprint. So the biometrics have been around too for decades. You know, would I be comfortable using my fingerprint for a payment? No. Would a younger generation say, well, I use it to unlock my phone, why can't I use it to make a payment? So it is a generational shift, and I think that you know, it comes back, like you're talking about economics, you know, in a way, it's supply and demand. We've got these technologies that are coming, and there's a supply of solutions, and then the demand also has to kind of like partner with what's available. So when the consumers themselves are interested or want it or need it, you know, whatever the case may be, then you just boom, they collide. And you've got this, you know, and you don't know what the next great like partnership's going to be between an existing solution. I'm pretty sure we have several already. When we come to these shows, we're seeing an extreme amount of innovation. That's my favorite part about payments. I mean, I can never step into a show and not see something new and walk away just wowed with, that was a cool idea. Somebody actually thought that up.
And I completely agree, and I think that's what constantly keeps payments exciting.
Yeah.
And obviously, you know, with all the, you know, VC money going around, and everybody wants to be a fintech company. Mm-hmm. And I feel like at the end of the day, you know, again, a lot of innovation is going on, but at the same time, it's almost like old products, like you mentioned before, sort of surfacing as a result of these new changes in demographic behaviors. Which kind of bring me, you know, what kind of payments talk would we have if we didn't talk about, you know, the usual surcharge and cash discount. You know, everybody wants to sell you cash discount and surcharge. But again, from my perspective, and, you know, I don't like to share this often, it's an old product being sold in a new era.
Yes.
And again, based on, you know, where you have seen the cool innovations happening, I mean, where do you see something like this fit into, you know, a portfolio like yourself in Alliance, where, hey, maybe we love technology and we're very willing to adopt technology, but we also have to, you know, make sure that we have some of these older tools perhaps at our disposal, so in case a merchant comes in, it is readily available, and he doesn't seem like, oh, you know, Alliance doesn't have this particular tool that everybody else has.
I agree. I think that as an ISO, one of the challenges is just the wide array of service and products that we can offer, and the several revenue streams that, you know, we can generate from different types of ancillary products. And I think that it's a balance of being able to offer these basic core, very common services, because, you know, at the end of the day, I don't want to lose a merchant because there was a product that I can offer or a service that I could offer. There are certain ones that we don't market, but that we do offer. So if the one-offs come where we have, you know, a need and the merchant's requesting it, or we're even going to be losing a merchant because they're going for XYZ product or service, we're like, we can do that. And it is important to be able to do that. So it's such a difficult challenge for an ISO, where you want to be known for specific product offerings, and you don't want to be unknown for the other product offerings that your competitor offers that you can also provide. So we do have several products and services in our arsenal of services.
Great way of putting it.
Exactly, and it's like a tool belt. You got to pull them out and use them, and then we'll see these waves, because it comes in waves where there's an interest in the merchant community for something, because, you know, this service offering's coming up, or this rep is circulating around and, you know, sharing information on a product. And I think being small and helps us to adapt really quickly, because if I don't have it, I could probably have it within a week to a month, depending on what the time frame is to bring that on. So if I talk to my merchant and say, I don't have it, but I will get it for you. Most merchants will consider staying just for that opportunity of keeping that service model, but also that product or service that they're looking for. And that's what I mean about those one-offs. We will do them frequently. We just have to figure out, this one worked. Now we really want to bundle it, box it out, and market
sell
it.
to the masses,
and market it,
because
this one, and just really do some product development around it.
It's almost like, the same way as we run our startup. It's very similar in the sense that, we don't have all the answers figured out, but we constantly iterating until the point where it's almost ready to be rolled out in mass quantities, I'd say.
Correct.
And at the end of the day, that's kind of, software technology evolves over time to really, really get at the needs of consumers, merchants, or anybody that interacts with, payments companies at the end of the day.
Yes.
Well, my friend, Ms. Iyer, it has been a phenomenal pleasure.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining us
Thank
this
you.
very special episode of Founders Talks, where we talk to founders, how they got started, where they're going, and how they're building. Thank you, and see you next time. Cut.